اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. It's the final touch on the Wasiyat of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. A little bit on that, I did shed some light on it. Imam says to Imam Mujtaba alayhi salam, وَإِيَّاكَ أَن تَغْتَرَّ بِمَا تَرَى مِنْ إِخْلَادِ أَهْلِهَا وَتَكَالُبِهِمْ عَلَيْهَ بَأَكَ اللَّهُ جَلَّ جَلَالُهُ عَنْهَا وَنَعَتْ إِلَيْكَ نَفْسَهَا. Imam says, do not attach to the people who are seeking the world, this dunya. Now the world also, dunya also, when it is meant, it is all these things that attach and attract a person towards this dunya, as a result put him away from the akhirah, from the Almighty God. Otherwise, this dunya also has so many places of worship. This dunya Allah has made as a tool, as a means to attract and to arrive to the akhirah. So there are millions of spots on earth that have been made to worship God. So that is not being addressed. It's anything that puts one off from the right path, from the path of Hidayah, that is being mentioned. So says Imam to his son that do not attach to the people seeking the world, they who jump on one another over the world, let them not deceive you. Now once God He has informed you about the world, and the world too also has shared its description with you and has unveiled its ugliness before you, its ugliness to you. So indeed, world worshippers are like barking dogs, Imam says, that bark on one another, on each other, in pursuit. And the stronger one he preys on the weaker one, and that is out of the greed they have. And the big in them he overpowers the small. So that is how the definition of these people who fight and for greed and to get over one another and to overpower one another, to rule over one another, Imam mentions. And then he says that قد أضلت أهلها قد قصد عن قصد السبيل وسلكت بهم طريق العمى وأخذت بأبصارهم عن منهج الصواب. Now the world has diverted its people from the right path, that is these desires that we have, the temptations, the attractions, and led them to the edge of the right path. So the more a person is drowned into this world and dunya, the more he will be cornered from the right path, from the path of. They also are being played with the world, and they've forgotten that there is a life, or there is an afterworld, which they have to give importance to. That they have totally forgotten. So the more the attraction a person has, or the more he drowns into these wants and desires of this world, the more he is broken and he is away from Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Then finally Imam says, فَإِيَّاكَ يَا بُنَيْ, says, my son, beware, beware my son. Do not be among those who are stained with all the ugliness of this dunya. Meaning that someone who is so much connected and drowned in this dunya, then the dunya that Imam is talking about, it's the negative dunya, the dunya that is mal'una, that is cursed. Otherwise, there is a dunya which is praised as well, that becomes a tool with which we arrive into the akhirah, that is good. So dunya that is being mentioned over here, it's the dunya mal'una, the accursed or the cursed dunya, which takes us away from the right path of hidayah, away from God. And then Imam says, don't be stained with those who, who are stained with the ugliness of this dunya. Some connected and some aloof, away and confused. And they have embarked a journey of deviation and in the grazing lands of a loss and difficulty. So they are in this world, they are doing what they have to do, but then whatever they are gaining, it's all a loss. Whatever they are collecting is just a loss and nothing else. And the Imam says that they are like those animals who are grazing in those lands, in those meadows, with no shepherd, with no guide. Imam says, just wait a bit, and when the veils are removed, the caravan has reached its destination, and he who has rushed and who has got to the destination and the caravan are the winners, and they will be prosperous and successful. And those who have been carried away with these lusts and desires and charms and beauty of this world, they are the losers. So beautiful quote, beautiful wasiyah of the Imam, and how he describes this world and how these people who just jump on one another like barking dogs, and whoever is stronger, he overrides the other, who dominates the other, he overpowers the other, and the weaker ones are the ones who are being ruled and who are pushed aside. Imam says, be careful. Now, Imam, he pointed out at sibqat. Sibqat means to rush, to be quick, to make heed. And when it comes to goodness and akhirah, here the instructions given to us by the Imam, by the Ma'asumin alayhim salam, are that you have to rush, you have to be quick, you cannot delay. Now, even in Karbala, when you see there, those who got to their destination, and the destination was Sayyid al-Shuhada, were the ones who were quick in making their decisions. There were many like Hur in Karbala, but Hur was quick and fast, rapid in making the decision. So in making decisions, we have to be quick. We can't wait. Even when the Imam arrives there, it's quick, rapid rush. He is there and we have to be. We have that we intend to be with him right now, so we are there with him right now. If we are after excuses and then let's wait and see, and we've heard the call, and let's provide some grocery for the children, let them be safe, and then I'll join. When you come after these excuses, then we are the ones who will lose. Tirimma, one of the people who met Abu Abdullah al-Hussein when he was traveling to Karbala, Imam invited him. He had a load of grocery that he had bought for his family. And he said to the Imam, let me just go home and deliver all this to the family and come. And the Imam never forced anyone, nor do the Imam ever force anyone. So he goes home, relaxes, delivers the stuff, and when he comes back, he sees that Karbala has taken place. Ashura is done, all those bodies are scattered, everything has ended. So he comes by the doorstep of the heaven, but doesn't get into the heaven because of that lack of being quick. He did not rush to be in there. So to be in the service of the Almighty, to be in the service of Rasulullah, that what we are trained to, especially with this namaz, with these prayers that we have, when it is time for prayers, when you say that Hayya ala salat, Hayya ala al-falah, Hayya ala khair al-amal, Hayya means rush, quick, make haste, don't delay. So when we get used to in performing the prayers dot on time, that gives us a beautiful training, that because Imam is Salat, Imam is Hajj, Imam is Zakat, Deen is Imam. So when everything is the Imam, and when we rush towards these wajibat that were prescribed and designed and given to us by the Prophet, by the Imams, then we are with the Imam. So that being quick has to be there. We have to learn to be quick, and we have to learn to rush. Now, there are different ways that have been mentioned in the books of akhlaq, that how do you fight this, the worshipping this dunya and the charms and the attachments that are there in this dunya. What do you do? Many of these things. Now, there's this hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A person comes to the Prophet and says that, Ya Rasulullah, when we are in your presence, when we are with you, we feel that we are better people. But then when we go to our own dwellings, our own homes, our own businesses, our own cocoons, there we find that we are different people. We are not exactly the same as we are before you. Are we hypocrites? Are we munafiqeen? The Prophet says, no, you are not a hypocrite, you are not a munafiq. But that what is there is shaitan has entered your system. Shaitan has footsteps, baby steps. The ayah in Quran says that وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Khutwa in Arabic means step. Khutuwat means steps, plural. So the Prophet says, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Don't follow the footsteps of shaitan. So following the footsteps of shaitan means that shaitan, he would never come and give a major sin before me to commit and to do and to perform. He will never do that. He's smart enough. Slowly, gradually, he brings something and makes it slightly lawful before me. And then he says, it's okay, it's just a one handshake, that's fine. It wasn't a kiss, it wasn't a touch, it wasn't a relationship. So it's just a handshake. So that handshake becomes slowly part of the system. Or for example, when you look at these Muslim countries and all the media, how they've taken away hijab totally. It's totally out. So something that was such a wajib, such a part of the religion, and they've taken it out so easily. And when you look at these shows and films and dramas, etc., now when they want to have that negativity and the hate of this wajib, which is such beautiful, they show ladies with hijab or with some kind of a cover, but then these women, they are evil. They have an evil character to play, evil role to play. So that way, again, that hate towards that attire, which is such sacred, is portrayed and shown. That is how shaitan works. That slowly, gradually, he brings things in the picture and then takes out that what is very important. Or another example, which is before every one of us easy to understand, it's this gelatin. Gelatin, they say that we ask this much the head, that much the head, and if this happens and that happens, then you can consume. What happens if you don't consume? What happens? I haven't died. I've lived without eating gelatin. So you can also do that. Everyone can do it. So gelatin is a step towards that haram. So once we get used to that gelatin, then the next step would be that actual haram as well. That also slowly it becomes part of the program and the package. So that is how shaitan works. Or in the lately, 2 years ago, they showed this halal champagne, which came out. It's exactly the same wrapper, the same bottle, the same color. Everything is the same. How you open it, how you present it, how you place it in those baskets and those trays and the cups and glasses that are used. It's all the same. The only thing is that this one is a halal champagne, that one is not. When you put the halal and the haram together, there is no you cannot identify which one is halal, which one is not. So when people get used to this halal champagne which they have made exactly like the haram one, then the next generation, they wouldn't know what the difference between the two is. So that is how shaitan enters. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. I did mention this in one of these trips to Mecca. We were there, we met a group of mu'mineen who had come from here, and they said that we met after such a long time, we want to treat you. I said the best treat would be we go to Masjid al-Haram, sit there we can talk, we can look at the Kaaba. That's the best you can do. They said that we are doing it already, but I want to take you to a restaurant. There we have some lunch. They insisted, took me to one of these chains, these famous chains that we have worldwide. And I never ate ever in those places. There when I sit, and when you look at that display, everything they have, it's Western, like pepperoni and what and what and what and what. I said to him, this is Mecca and you have got all these things here. We call, he said, no, no, it's just the names we are using because those Westerners, when they come here, because they are used to that food stuff there, it's easy for them to eat here. Otherwise, everything here is halal. So that is how shaitan works. He wants to make it. Now, those who are living there and who get used to that haram name in a halal way, when they come to the West, for them it doesn't matter. They're going to eat it. That is shaitan. That khutuwat is shaitan means the footsteps of shaitan. How he comes into our system and we also get carried away with the satanic flow. So, one of the ways how to be away from this satanic trap is to be cautious, extra vigilant, be within the parameters that the deen has laid. And one of the other things, now here Imam said that like barking dogs, people they jump on one another, those who are stronger, they overpower others, they overrule others, they dominate on others. One of the things in akhlaq that is mentioned is these people they get carried away when they are flattered a lot, when they are praised a lot. So that is again another trap. By praising, by flattering people, they are taken into their control. Hadith says that man maddahaka faqad qatalaka bila sikkin. Someone who has flattered you, who has praised you, has killed you indeed, and killed you without a knife. Killed you without a knife. So with a knife, someone kills, you see the wound, and then there might be chances that you can fix it, repair it. But without a knife, no chances of survival. Or man maddahaka faqad qatalak. Another hadith says that someone who has praised you has killed you. Imam here says that if all the people they get together and they say that you are a bad guy and you are within your parameters and you are obedient to the Almighty, they say it shouldn't matter to you. It shouldn't bother you. Do whatever you are doing. And if all of them get together and they say that you are the best of men, that also shouldn't flatter you, or it shouldn't bring about any change in you. So you be what you are, be within the limits that have been laid by Deen, and you will be safe. Now, all this that we learned from this wasiyah can be given to us only and only by an Imam. No one else can do that. No one else. And that's the beauty of our faith, beauty of our religion, that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, He has favored us, He has blessed us, He has granted the Aimma to us to guide us all the way. We don't find this beauty in any religion. That in every little case, in every little um, place, we need help, and that help is given to us. So Imams, they have taught us, and now we want to be with the Aimma as well, so that we don't get disconnected from them, especially in this day and age that we are living in this world, which is full of deceit, which is full of deviation, which is full of perdition, whatever you say, it's all negativity, uh, which is dumped in from every side, and we have to find our way out, and it is not an easy task. So the best way would be to be connected with the Aimma alayhimus salam. That way we will be safe. Now, how do we help the Imams? Now, helping them means helping ourselves. Helping them, first of all, we can help them by knowledge, that is increasing our help, learning, understanding, studying, increasing the intellectual level, be able to defend the Aimma in this day and age. That is, from every side you see this wrong information that is being pounded. Different ways, whatever you can. Now, in the presence of Imam Hadi alayhi salam, all the companions, they were present. A man entered. They said to the Imam that this person who just walked in, he won a debate with the enemies of the Ahlul Bayt. Imam stood. Imam stood in his respect, in his honor, and then the Sadat who were present in that majlis, they got offended. They said that we are Sayyids and we are from the descendants of the Prophet. Now we are closer to him, and how come Imam he stood before someone who just walked in and who is not a Sayyid himself? Imam says that it wasn't me who elevated his rank, that I stood before him. Says Allah elevated his rank. And how did Allah elevate his rank? That is by him being obedient to the Almighty, by supporting, by rendering his support and being quick in rendering his support. And he won the debate and in the favor of the Shias. Now, when we look into these teachings that we have from the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they are such beautiful that there is no spot that has been left, a vacuum that has been left unaddressed. Everything has been addressed, how you deal, how you win. And then Imam, when he stood in respect of that person, so what we learn from here is that when someone walks in, you stand up in his respect. The higher the authority of that person, you definitely stand up. If your father comes in, you stand up. If you're walking with your father, you don't walk with your father, you have to walk a few steps behind him. If your father sits, you sit a step lower than him. So all these are adab that we have that have been taught to us by the Imams. Imam, he stood in his respect. And then says, وَلَقَدْ صَلَّى عَلَى هَذَا الْعَبْدِ الْكَاسِرِ لَهُ مَلَائِكَةُ السَّمَاءِ وَالْحُجُبِ وَالْكُرْسِي. On this winner, in the debate, the angels in the skies and those in the hujub, in the kursi, in the arsh of Allah, all of them, they sent salawat on that person who helped in winning that debate and elevate the rank of the Shias and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. So here, that what applies to every one of us is to increase our understanding, increase our insight, our knowledge pertaining to Islam and to the Ahlul Bayt in particular. Ibn Abbas, he is the first of the Mufassirin among the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In his last days of his life, last years of his life, he was old and he got blinded, he couldn't see. So there were no wheelchairs and stretchers in those days. People, they used to carry one another, especially those who were disabled. Ibn Abbas was being carried by, or he was walking, or his grandson was with him, helping him find his way to his destination. There someone was swearing at Amirul Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam, because it was that time when Muawiyah, his media and his in all his channels and all his people were made to speak bad, were made to swear upon Amirul Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam. Now here, when he was swearing at Amirul Mu'mineen, now Ibn Abbas is blind. He says, Ayyukum as-sabbullah? Qalu subhanallah wa man yasubbullah. He says, who was swearing at God? They said that, subhanallah, is there anyone who swears at God? فَقَدْ أَسَرَّكَ بِاللَّهِ قَالَ فَأَيُّكُمُ الصَّابُ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. Who was swearing at the Prophet? They said that, who was swearing at the Prophet? No one swear. We were swearing at Ali. Now here Ibn Abbas was, with all that bravery and might, a time when the spies of Bani Umayyah, they are all around. His life is in danger, but he doesn't care. A wajib that he has to do. Says, I heard the Prophet say, Man sabba aliyan faqad sabbani wa man sabbani faqad sabballah. Whosoever swears at Ali has sworn on the Prophet. Whosoever swears at the Prophet has sworn on the Almighty God. There he put them in the right place. So that is support. How we can render our support to Deen, to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. De'abal, one of the famous poets of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, he recited a poem in the presence of Imam Rida alayhis salam. Imam took his shirt out and gave it to him and said, I offered 1,000 rak'at in 1,000 nights in this shirt, and 1,000 Qur'ans were recited by me in this shirt. So that is something which is valuable. It has that spiritual, moral value to that shirt. It says, I give you this because you supported religion, you supported deen by your poems, by your sayings, by your words. So that is how a person can help the. Now, this when we render our support to the Ahlul Bayt, in reality, we are supporting ourselves. We are finding a way out for ourselves, as mentioned in that wasiyah, that you have to rush. If you want that success and if you want to get to the caravan, then you need to do something fast and quick. You can't put things away. Now, in action also you need to be, and you need to help. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam in Nahj al-Balagha, he says, A'inuni bi wara'in wa ijtihad. Help me. How do you help me? Imam says, by being pious, by being muttaqi, by being God-wary, help us. So now that help also, it doesn't get to the Imam. We are helping ourselves. Imam want us to help ourselves by all these sayings, that if we are obedient to the Imam, then we are helping ourselves, as a result helping the Imam as well. In another quote there says, Kunu lana zainan wala takunu alayna shayna. Be a means of beauty for us, a means of beautification for us, that we be proud of you, that these are our Shias, how good they are, how well behaved they are, how muttaqi they are. Now, how do they measure? It's exactly the same measure that Allah has made and placed in Quran. Says, in akramakum indallahi atqakum. Whosoever is more muttaqi, he is more God-wary. He is more towards Allah. So whosoever is more towards Allah is more towards the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam as well. Now the actions of Shias in the presence of Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, he started praising the people of his town. We are the Shias, there we love you a lot. Imam said, Kaifa ayadatu aghniyaihim ala fuqaraihim. Imam says, the rich in your town, when he was flattering and praising himself that we are your followers, we are the Shias, first question Imam asks them, that the rich in your town, how do they deal with the poor in their town, in your town? And then كيف مشاهدة أغنيائهم لفقرائهم كيف صلة أغنيائهم لفقرائهم. And the rich there, how do they deal? They interact with those who are in need, of the poor. Now this person who was praising and flattering and saying that we are among the followers of the Ahlul Bayt, we are the Shias, he says that things that you have just mentioned, Yabna Rasulullah, O son of the Prophet, these things, they are strange. We don't know them. And then Imam says, how do you think that you are from the Shias, from our Shias? When you don't have those things, that how that interaction has to be between the rich and the poor, helping of the rich to the poor, or giving and bestowing of the rich to the needy. When that lacks in the society, then what connection is there between you and us? Says that كيف تزعم هؤلاء أنهم شيعة. Then how do they say that they are Shias? Another example that can be mentioned is during the time of Imam Rida alayhi salam, a group of people, they come to Marv. Marv is Khurasan. And after the Shahadat of Imam Rida, that place is called Mashhad. Before that it was Marv. They come to see the Imam. Now the Khadim, the caretaker, he comes to the door, a group of so many people. They have traveled from a faraway place. And they say, we've come to see the Imam, we are the Shias. Imam says to the Khadim, tell them to come later. They come the next day, again the same thing, next day, next day, next day. And Imam, 60 days they pass. They come and say to the Khadim on the 60th day that we've been coming here, knocking at the door of the Imam for the past 60 days, and every time we come here, we are told that come later. We have to return back to our homes, to our hometown. There people will ask, you went all the way to Khurasan, did you meet the Imam? And if we tell them we did not, Imam did not allow us, it's going to be sad. It's going to be a negative mark on us that how come we came, we followed the Imam all the way far here, and he hasn't met us. The Khadim goes and relays the message to the Imam. This is what they are saying. Imam says, tells them to come. When they come, they plead, they cry. And then Imam says, all these actions that you do, it is not Shias, they can't do that. The claim that you had that you are the Shias and you've come to meet that claim, it's a big claim, and none of those qualities are there in you. So why do you claim like that? Then they say that we are the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt. We love you, Yabna Rasulullah. We've come to meet you. Imam says that's much better now. Saying that we are a Shia and not having those qualities of the Shias in you, that is a bad claim. Now, we want to be with the Imam, we can help them financially. That is, those who are in need, mu'mineen who are in need, orphans who are in need, fuqara who are in need. By helping them, you are helping the Imam, because that's the task of the Imam in this dua iftitah that we recite every day. We say that whatever Imam is, all that Amr bil Ma'ruf, Nahi anil Munkar, supporting and then establishment of the adl and justice, it's among the assignments of the Imam that he will fulfill when he arrives. When he is doing all that, then I also have to do all that, because I am also the same as the Imam, meaning that as an individual, as a mukallaf, that what is wajib on him is wajib on me. If he helps, I also help. If he prays for others, I also pray. If he offers his own prayers, I also offer my own prayers. If Hajj and Zakat and Khums is wajib on him, it is wajib on me as well. So I have to help him, help others or those in need financially, so that that support to the Imam can be rendered. Now we've got so many beautiful cases, beautiful personalities in our religion who have served to the best of their ability in this noble cause of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Among them is this famous alim, Allama Amini. Now, when you go to Najaf, his grave is also by the sacred shrine of Amir al-Mu'mineen, originally from Tabriz of Iran, and he dedicated his entire life to Amir al-Mu'mineen, and the asset of his is the book Al-Qadir. To write and to compile that book, he traveled worldwide and in those difficult times, and he studied as many as 10,000 books, and he wrote the book, this Al-Ghadir. The reward that he gets for writing that book, when he passes away, his son says, or someone from his near, they say that we saw him and he is by the pond. And then we ask him, there's a big line of people who are standing by the pond, that is the House of Kausar, the pond of Kausar. Amirul Mu'mineen is also there, because Amirul Mu'mineen, he is the quencher, he is the provider, the saqqa of the waters of Kausar to those who come there. Says everyone comes there, Imam, he has a cup in his hand, fills it with water, gives it to them, they drink the water and they go, and the next one comes up. Says when it was Marhum Amini's turn, that Marhum Amini, he steps forward, and now Imam has a cup in his hand. He puts the cup down, rolls his sleeves up, both the sleeves, says that he dips his two Mubarak hands in that pond of Kausar and then fills it with water and gives it to Allama Amini. Says, you enlighten me, you brighten me in this world. May Allah brighten you here in the hereafter and the world as well. That is how services can be provided to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and that is a means of satisfaction and a means of pride for the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, where they say that Kunu lana zaynan, be a means of pride for us. Many other examples can be mentioned throughout the history of the Shia ulama, all these noble personalities, all of these shuhada who sacrificed their lives in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in India, in Iran, in Iraq, all these great personalities, all of them on the right path, on the path of Haqq of Ahlul Bayt, who gave away whatever they had, and the maximum thing they had with them was their life that was sacrificed for the noble cause of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. One of the du'as that we ask Allah in this month of Ramadan is وَقَتْلًا فِي سَبِيلِكَ فَوَفِّقْ لَنَا. There's a small du'a after du'a iftitah, which is generally not recited. See that it's a few sentences and it's beautiful things that you ask the Almighty in that book, in that dua. وَقَتْلًا فِي سَبِيلِكَ فَوَفِّقْ لَنَا. Allah, being killed in your way, Allah bestow that to every one of us, grant that to us. And that is the highest reward or the way of how a person can be killed and he can be depart this world. Like everything else, there is a high and low in it. Even in death, there is a high and low. The highest in death, it's that shahadat. By shahadat, inshallah, we also depart this world. Count us all among the best of the servants of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. That we do not know, Allah teach us. That what we know, Allah help us practice it. Ya Allah, increase in our understanding, our insight, our basirat, our knowledge, our faith, our iman, and our children to be enlisted among the best of Muslims. Ya Allah, all those who have requested for du'as, whatever they be, Allahumma inni as'aluka أن تدخلني في كل خير أدخلت فيه محمد وآل محمد وأن تخرجني من كل سوء أخرجت منه محمدا وآل محمد صلواتك عليه وعليهم أجمعين. Enter us all into every good that you made Muhammad and Ali Muhammad enter, and bring us out from every evil and every shar and every bad that you ousted and you brought Muhammad and Ali Muhammad out of it. وسبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Maulana, we have received a request about if you can tell us again about something you mentioned yesterday about reciting Ayat al-Kursi and Surah Al-Imran verses.
Oh, yes, yeah. Okay. There is this hadith from, it's Hadith al-Qudsi. Hadith al-Qudsi, the Almighty Allah, He says that when I instructed these ayat, that is Surah Al-Imran 18, 19, 27 and 28, and Ayat al-Kursi and Surah Al-Hamd, Allah, He instructed these ayat to descend to the earth. They clung to the arsh and they said that, Ila aina tahbituna, where do you want to send us, O Lord? To the people who sin, who do wrong. Then Allah said, descend, go down. And then He said that you've been sent there. And then from among the Ali Muhammad and the followers of Ali Muhammad, the Shias, when they recite you, that is Suratul Hamd, Ayatul Kursi, and the 4 ayat from Ali Imran, I'll send them to you. You can share it with your mu'mineen. So there He says that when you recite these ayat, Allah, after every wajib prayers, after every wajib salat, say Allah, He looks at you 70 times. Every time He looks at you, He increases the ajr and whatever He is going to give you in 70 folds. And every time He looks at you with that hyphenated look, whatever that is, says the wrong also that was done will be forgiven for the recitation of these ayat. So that is ayat Shahidallahu annahu la ilaha illa huwa wal malaikatu wa ulul ilm until the end. And the other one is ayatul mulk. قل اللهم مالك الملك تؤتي الملك من تشاء وتنزع الملك ممن تشاء until the end. Ayatul Kursi also, it is up to you if you want to do it up to whom fiha khalidun. So if it's one off, then you can do it, fiha khalidun. But if you've got a multiple Ayatul Kursi to be recited in prayers and all that, there you can suffice to the first ayah, that is until the Aliyul Azim, just the first ayah. If you have a namaz to recite wherein you need to repeat it 100 times or 50 times or more, multiple times, which is going to take a lot of time. In such cases, you can just suffice to the first ayah, and then we've got, and then Suratul Hamd. For Ayatul Kursi, inshallah, we'll talk a little bit tomorrow. That is the fazilat of this Ayatul Kursi, the emphasis, the importance, inshallah.